Hello everyone, my name is Morgan Park. I work for the Presidential Committee on Green Growth of the Republic of Korea. I'm standing here before you today with two reasons. The first is to introduce you to Korea's green growth strategy. The second is to share with you the latest development of Korea's Emission Trading Scheme. Let me first touch upon the vision for Korea's green growth. Green growth is an action-oriented strategy to achieve sustainable development. It has become Korea's new national development vision for the next 60 years, since President Lee Myung-bak officially announced the vision for Korea's green growth on August 15, 2008. Green growth seeks sustainable growth by reducing greenhouse gas emissions and environmental pollution. It's based on the conviction that these two objectives would compel technological innovation and through this, drive growth. Some key elements of green growth in Korea could be stated as follows. First, promotion of green and clean energy paradigm. Second, promotion of green technologies and innovation as new growth engines. Third, improvement of people's life quality. And last but not least, enhancement of Korea's role in green growth at a global level. The Presidential Committee on Green Growth, in which I work for, was created in 2009 as the highest body for deliberation and coordination of green growth policy in Korea. The National Green Growth Strategy was also announced as a long-term blueprint for green growth. It identifies goals, strategies, 3 key policy action areas, as well as 50 action plans. All these measures are backed by legal foundation. Of special significance was the legislation of the so-called Framework Act on Low-Carbon Green Growth in 2010. National midterm greenhouse gas emissions reduction target of 30% relative to business-as-usual scenario by 2020 was also announced in Copenhagen at COP15 in 2009. It entails setting of emissions reduction targets by sector and industry. And a principal instrument for achieving the target is Emission Trading Scheme, which will be launched in January 2015. As many of you know, the law on implementation of ETS passed on May 2nd of this year with an overwhelming bipartisan support. Now, Korea is gearing up preparatory actions for its full implementation in 2015. Now, let me talk about ETS, Emission Trading Scheme. Korea views that ETS is one of the most powerful instruments for reducing greenhouse gas emissions in the most cost-effective way. Furthermore, ETS promotes transition to low-carbon, high-energy efficient economy by catalyzing development of low-carbon and high-energy efficient technologies. Let me also briefly touch on the short history on Korea's adoption of ETS. It started in October 2010. The Presidential Committee on Green Growth drafted and submitted the ETS bill to the National Assembly. Upon submission, a series of public hearings in the following year took place, and the bill was approved by the Special Committee on Climate Change at the National Assembly. Finally, in May this year, the Legislation and Judiciary Committee at the National Assembly approved the ETS bill. On May 2nd, with an overwhelming bipartisan support, the National Assembly passed the bill, which means that Korea has become the first Asian country to implement a nationwide cap-and-trade system. According to the Korean ETS law, the ETS will be in operation starting January 1st of 2015. The first phase of ETS will start in January 2015. The duration of the first and the second phase will be 3 years, and the following is expected to last for 5 years. During the first and the second phase, over 95% of free allowances will be allocated. The future allocation after the first and the second period will be specified in the Presidential Decree of ETS law. The scope of participants is as follows. Installations emitting 25,000 tons of CO2 per year, or entities emitting over 125,000 tons of CO2 per year will be subject to the ETS participation. Those installations emitting less than 25,000 tons of CO2 can also voluntarily take part in ETS. Let's take a look at how the Korean ETS works in detail. The credits verified in accordance with international standards can offset greenhouse gas emissions. In addition, financial support will be offered to companies suffering from international competition due to ETS. Tax credits will also be offered for companies who adopt high-efficient technologies. At the same time, companies that emit more than their allowances must either pay a fine or buy surplus allowances from companies that manage to stay below their limits. And finally, Presidential Decree for ETS entailing operational details will be finalized by 2012 in consultation with stakeholders. Now it's time to wrap up my presentation. I've made a brief presentation to you on Korea's green growth strategy and emissions trading scheme. I hope that this presentation will help you understand how Korea is trying to become an environment-friendly economy through green growth vision and strategy. As we are well aware, climate change is a global challenge and requires building a global partnership for green growth. I believe it's time to think and act together. Thank you and wish all of you good luck.